We've got a new report that the changes, the alleged changes, the rumored changes that Ubisoft is supposedly making to Yasuke, reducing his role in Assassin's Creed Shadows, are apparently part of a disinformation campaign. Roll this up over at phantompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. This report comes to us from YouTuber Endymion. He shared what an Ubisoft insider informed him. He said this: "As I was told by my source, the Yasuke removal stuff is smoke and mirrors. According to them, apparently, and again, take this part with a grain of salt, but this person is very tied to a lot of stuff going on there. They said that Ubisoft has actually not removed much of any of the content about Yasuke in-game, but instead they are simply lying about it to make it seem like they are listening to players' feedback. My insider told me that Ubisoft apparently has no plans to remake the Yasuke content because they feel as if they do, they will be seen as bending the knee, so to speak, to the online haters. So the idea here, according to my insider, is to lie about removing content to trick people into buying the game, thinking that they changed their ways. Yes, as I'm told, it's a marketing ploy designed to trick players into believing that Ubisoft has changed when they haven't at all." So that is the report from Endymion. He claims that rumors about Yasuke's role being reduced, rumors about his stuff in-game being changed, is just simply not true. It is part of a disinformation campaign that Ubisoft is running to try to get gamers and players to buy the game, thinking that they are actually being heard and listened to. So this comes in the wake of a report from Francesco Solbeck over at That Park Place, claiming that Ubisoft made narrative cuts to reduce Yasuke's role in the game. Solbeck reported, That Park Place source has confirmed that Ubisoft delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows in order to make narrative cuts that severely limit the role of Yasuke in the story. According to our source, the 20 million euro delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows was not merely to polish the game, but to shift focus away from Yasuke as the main protagonist. He noted that parts of the game that were cut included quests tied to his supposed rise as a samurai, as well as dialogue changes where Yasuke was previously presented as a samurai and celebrated for his renown among Japanese NPCs. Furthermore, he shared that cutscenes were reworked to make it feel like Naue has taken the lead role. He also shared that one source informed him that the most egregious inaccuracies were related to Yasuke's portrayal, and efforts were made to mitigate these issues. So that is what Solbeck reported just earlier this week. And now we're already hearing from a source close to Endymion claiming that that could potentially be part of a disinformation campaign in order to try to dupe people into purchasing the game. That is really, really interesting. We did see previous rumors from September. One of them was from Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming. He claimed that Ubisoft was, quote, changing some of Yasuke's story and how he's portrayed in the game. He also noted the company was fixing architectural details and ensuring that the game is historically grounded while fitting into the Assassin's Creed universe. We do know that I think they kind of confirmed that they were fixing these architectural details. They talked about changing the architecture with the Japanese architecture so the parkour would work properly. That is one of the things that I think it was the game director said that, or the assistant game director. One of the people said that is something that they were doing with delay from November to February. Obviously, it's now been delayed to March. So that is something that they have confirmed, the architectural details. Furthermore, Henderson also shared that historical experts were brought onto the project much later than usual for a project of this magnitude, and that miscommunication between teams and cutting corners when it came to the approval process of assets to meet deadlines resulted in many of the historical and cultural concerns that have been raised by gamers. We also had Endymion sharing this at the end of September. He said, one of the things for sure getting removed from Shadows, according to my sources, is indeed the rap hip-hop music for Yasuke. Apparently, Ubisoft brought out a questionnaire, and they were unanimously told that the rap music was tonally wrong and completely unneeded, and that it was actually offensive that Ubisoft believed Yasuke needed a hip-hop battle theme in a game that was set well before such music existed, and it was only implemented because Yasuke was black, so that's going to be gone for sure. He continued saying they are also going to be removing dialogue from the game that, according to my source, told me that it would actually enrage players if they heard it. I wasn't given concrete examples of what kind of dialogue, but the source assumed it may have been Yasuke saying some sort of socio-political pandering nonsense about he was sold by white men or something, and that he hates white men and white supremacy must be abolished and such. They're also removing this because, of course, if that were in the game, it would absolutely be highlighted and used to detract even more people from supporting the game in the future. So those are the rumors that we've seen talking about how they were going to be changing Yasuke. And now we've got this latest report from Endymion claiming that it's all part of a disinformation campaign and they're not changing anything. I think there's probably a little bit of truth in both. They probably have made some changes to the dialogue with Yasuke. I don't think they've probably done anything to the overall story. He's probably still in the same position that he was going back to, like, what was it? When did they delay it? September, October, when they announced the delay. I think that he's probably still hasn't changed, but they probably maybe made some small tweaks. So it might not be as big as what Solbeck here was reporting, where they like changed cutscenes and things like that. But it might be just some dialogue options were changed, and then they removed like the rap music. That maybe that is what has indeed been removed. I definitely don't think that they've probably changed anything over the overall narrative. And the reason why I think that is because this is what Assassin's Creed executive producer Mark Alexis Cote said. I think this was at the end of October, beginning of November. He did this BAFTA masterclass, which was just recently uploaded to YouTube about a month ago. But this is what he said about Ubisoft's commitment to DEI. So let's take a listen.
Today's shifting cultural landscape, we face an additional and unforeseen challenge as discussions around representation and inclusivity in media have become increasingly prominent. These conversations can influence how our games are perceived, but rather than shy away from those conversations, we should see them as an opportunity. Assassin's Creed has always been about exploring the full spectrum of human history. And by its very nature, that history is diverse. Staying true to history means embracing the richness of human perspectives without compromise. For example, in Assassin's Creed Shadows, we highlight figures both fictional, like Naue, a Japanese woman warrior, and historical, like Yasuke, the African-born samurai. While the inclusion of a black samurai in feudal Japan has sparked questions and even controversy, Naue, as a fictional character, has also faced scrutiny for her gender. But just as Yasuke's presence in Japanese history is fact, so too are the stories of women who defied societal expectations and took up arms in times of conflict. So, while both Naue and Yasuke's stories are works of historical fiction, they reflect the collision of different worlds, cultures, and roles, and their inclusion is precisely the kind of narrative that Assassin's Creed seeks to tell, one that reflects the complexity and interconnectedness of our shared history. And this isn't new ground for the franchise. From Altair to Aveline de Grandpré and Raton Aketon, we've consistently introduced protagonists from diverse racial, ethnic, and gender identities. A story is inherently diverse, and so is Assassin's Creed and the stories we tell. So to be clear, our commitment to inclusivity is grounded in historical authenticity and respect for diverse perspectives, not driven by modern agendas. Alongside these deep...
So there you go. Pretty clear there that he is going to be committed to diversity, equity, inclusion, which is a modern agenda, despite him saying that it's not being driven by a modern agenda. It's very obvious that throughout that entire little part of his speech there, his presentation, he's clearly being driven by modern agendas. He's talking about feminism, which is a modern agenda, let's be honest. So I don't think that they're changing Yasuke's story whatsoever. This guy seems very clear. He says, so to be clear, our commitment to inclusivity is grounded in historical authenticity and respect for diverse perspectives, not driven by modern agendas. So he's doubling down on the DEI agenda. Yasuke is part of that DEI agenda. I don't expect any narrative changes being made to Yasuke. So I kind of buy this idea that Endymion's source is saying here that if there is any kind of rumors or speculation that is being put out there, it is probably disinformation, because this guy right here is literally saying that we're committed to it and we're not making any changes. So maybe things have changed since then. It's possible maybe someone above him talked to him, given the state of that company, but this sounds like a person who's doubling down on it. And this is after they delayed the game the first time, right? So they were already in dire straits with the delay. So I don't think that they would be altering it all that much given when he gave this speech. But y'all let me know what you make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth. And never forget that everything woke turns to